This is the automation zone. In today's tutorial, we'll learn what is splicing of a string, also called as string indexing in Python. A string can be defined as any set of characters which is typed in between two quotes. These quotes can either be a double quote, as I have typed here. They can also be a single quote. Just make sure that if you start with a single quote, it should end with a single quote as well. Now the first thing to note is each and every string is made up of a set of characters. Now these characters can be your alphabetical characters such as your ABCs. It can include spaces, it can include enters, tabs, etc. It can also include numbers, or it can include your special characters such as your @ your $sign, %sign, etc. Now each and every character in your string has got a well defined position. Let us look at this sample string here called hello world, and we'll look at each and every character's position inside of this string. Let me open up the exact same thing in an image. Now here I have the string hello world, and if I were to plot the indexes going from my left to my right, I would have positive indexes such that H would have the index 0, E would have 1, and going forward the character D would have the index 10. If I were to plot negative indexes, it would be going from right to the left. -1 index would be assigned for the character D, and in the same way -11 would be assigned to H. So indexes can be plotted in two ways, either positive or negative. When I'm talking about positive, it has to start from the first character and it goes towards the last character. It starts from 0 and it goes ahead. If I'm talking about negative indexes, it starts from the last character. It starts from the index -1 and it keeps going ahead till the first character. Let me go back to the code now. Now, using what we have just learned, we'll try to capture a specific character from my string hello world. As we have learned, the character H here has got the index 0. In order to capture a specific string, make sure you type in the square brackets like so, just after your string ends. So hello world ends here, put your square brackets right here, and your index shall go inside of your square brackets like so. So hello world and the index 0. Let me run this. If you see, the output is the character H. If I look at my diagram, you would see H has got the index 0. In the same way, let me try to print the character W, which has got the index as 6. So if I put 6 here and if I run the same program, you will see the character W being printed out. It can also be done with your negative indexes. Now if I look at this, D has got a negative index called -1. If I were to put in -1 as my index right here, it will start from the last character, which is the character D. Let me run this. You see the character D is printed out. In this way, I can capture specific characters from my string by using a square brackets and the index that you want inside of your brackets. The other way to do so is by using variables. So what I'll do here is, let me just create a variable called str1. Let me take in my string and assign hello world to my variable str1, and I can assign this indexing to the variable str1. This would work just as well. Let me run this. You see the character D is being printed out. Now splicing can also be used to access more than one characters at the same time. In order to do so, type in a colon inside of your square brackets. The part before the colon is the index where you want your splicing to begin. Example, this is going to be your start, and the part after the colon is going to be where you want it to end. Now let me show this with an example. Let's say I want to print the characters ELLO. Now in this case, the starting position would be the position 1 and the ending position would be the index 4. Now note that in Python the last index is skipped. So in this case we will give the index as the index 5. So in this case, if I give starting from the index 1 and ending with the index 5, I would get the set of characters ELLO. Let me try this. I will start with the index 1 and I'll end with the index 5, and if I run it, you would see ELLO. Now note that if I do not give the ending, it is going to go all the way till the end. Let me run this. You would see it is ELLO and world. In the same way, if I do not give the starting, it is going to consider the very first character. So it is going to be HELLO. And if I do not give the starting or the ending, it is going to begin at the first character and it is going to end at the very last character, which is basically the entire string itself. Let me run this. You see hello world is printed below if I do not give any values inside of my spliced string. Now, apart from your starting and ending, splicing also has a third optional parameter, also called as your incrementer or decrementer. By default, the value of this is set to 1. If I were to run this without any values whatsoever, you would see the entire string being printed below. If I were to use the value 1, you would have the exact same output. Let us analyze what this 1 actually means. So 1 here is your index incrementer. Now, let me look at this string here called hello world. At the very first, your first index is being printed, which is the character H. Now because your incrementer is 1, your index is incremented from 0 to just 1, or your next index, which is 1, and therefore E is being printed. Now your next index here will be 2 because your incrementer is again just 1, and your next character being printed is the character L, and therefore you get hello world. What if you had your incrementer set to 2? In this case, after your first character being printed, your next character would be incremented by 2. Hence 0 plus 2 would mean the index 2, and therefore the next character being printed is the character L, followed by the character O, and so on and so forth. Let us run this. You will see the characters being printed are H, L, O, just as we have described it right here. So in this way you can use splicing in order to achieve various effects in your code. Now, apart from just using it as an incrementer, you can also use as a decrementer. For example, having a positive number here would mean you are starting from your first character and you're moving on to the last character. If I'm using negative 1, it basically means I'm starting from my last character and I'm moving to the very first character. So if I were to put -1, I would basically just reverse a string. For example, this is going to be hello world but typed in reverse. Now let us do something else here, which is a bit complex. I'm going to do the exact same thing but also by putting in the starting as well as the ending. Now because we are doing the reverse, everything will be typed in reverse order. So I'm starting from reverse. I want to type in, let's say, ROW. In this case, the first character, or where do I want my splicing to start, is going to be the index 8. So I'll type in the starting index has the index 8. The ending index would be W, which is 6. But as I said, right, it is not going to stop here. It is going to skip 1. Therefore, I have to give the index as index 5. So I'll give here the index 5, and if I run this, you would see ROW being printed here successfully. That is it for today's topic. If you have any questions on splicing, do comment below. I will help you out. If you like my videos and my series, do show your support by liking and sharing this video and subscribing to my channel. Thank you all for watching.